What's going on, y'all? I want to welcome y'all back to the Raw Report. And today we got a friend of the show. Y'all already know Coach Cannon back to give us some juice on his new book, Committed. Um, wait a minute, Committed Fuel. Wait a minute, we go get it from him. Let's just say it that we go get it from him. We'll get it from the horse's mouth himself. And I'm telling y'all already know it's gonna be that fire because every time we have Coach Cannon on, he give us that juice. So without further ado, what's going on, Coach Cannon?
What's going on, my brother? How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. Good to see you. Let me. I know it's committed. Is it
hmm
fuel to progress?
Hey,
What's
you already in it. It's you
all
just
right?
missing a few words.
All right.
It's tap into the mindset that fuels progression. You already on it, bro. But that's
Tap
it.
into the mindset that fuels progression. That's what I want y'all to. Hey, take
Yes,
y'all
sir.
here. All right. So committee suggests more. To me, it suggests more than just showing up. How do you define
Mm.
the mindset that fuels the progression?
Wow, that's so good. And I think you hit it right on the head. It's more than showing up. And the way that I kind of sort of describe and the way that I view mindset. And well, first of all, you just hop right into it. No,
Bro,
no, no
hey,
fluff.
look, they already know you. You come over here, you get that fine. It's the Raw Report. We ain't finna play around with it. Let's get to the good so we can get our good hour in.
Ah, my
Hey, let's
God, my God. Well, the way that
get
I frame the way that I frame mindset is that it's just like, well, let me ask you this question. What type of cell phone do you have?
I got an iPhone.
Right. Okay, good. And so I'm an Android guy, so we're not gonna get into that Android iPhone beef up here today. But that's
Okay.
the way I frame mindset because I feel that mindset is just like our cell phone's operating system.
Okay.
It's what's inside of the phone. It's what's inside of our head that 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 controls and that dictates the way that we act and how we see the world and everything else like that. And so
Oh, I
that's what
love that.
mindset is. Mindset is our internal program because Apple have their internal programmer for their phones. Android have their internal programmer for their phones. However, it comes from the factory, the way this factory set. But each and every one of our phones, no matter if your friend got the same iPhone as you, when you cut it on, you have a different screensaver. When you
Mm,
cut it on, you may have a different font. You have
right.
different things, and that's how our mindset is. It's given to us, and it's up to us to personalize it and customize it to the way we want to see and view and operate in the world.
So what I'm hearing you say is Coach Cannon has his own operating system that needs to be tweaked. Coach Wiggins has his own operation system that needs to be tweaked to maximize that thing to push this thing forward. Am I correct in what you're saying?
That's exactly what it is, and it's
Oh,
going to
that's
take
good.
that level of commitment. What?
Okay.
Say that again.
So no. I agree with you. So that level of commitment, I'm glad you just said that. What level of commitment is that? Because to me, commitment, period, is a strong statement in itself before you even get to
Mm,
levels. So, and a lot of people, and I'll say from our culture, I feel like, and I could be wrong, have a problem being committed to anything, even their spouse. So, touch on that for me, bro. I'm just saying because committed. When I read the title, I was like, "Ooh, that's good," because a lot of us have commitment issues.
and you're exactly right. And the way, and I think that a lot of times commitment, the way that it's been framed in our context and the way we've been living our life, I think that it scares people
Mm,
because they feel as if them being committed is going to limit them. But in all actuality, when you choose to commit to something, whether it's an individual, whether it's a mindset, whether it's personal growth, personal development, business, whatever it is, you're actually tapping into something much deeper. Because when we look at everything else out here, there's a plethora of things. There's a whole bunch of things that can grab our attention
hmm
or that can pull us into. But when you decide to commit, that is a personal decision that this right here is what I'm focusing on. And when I focus on this, I am separating myself and I am ignoring everything else that doesn't align, that doesn't fit, and that doesn't advance me in the direction of what I'm committed to. And so whenever we commit to something, we're always going to find ourselves, we're going to find out more about ourselves, because once we get inside the journey, it's going to be some things that we didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I frame committed in the book also is that every single thing that we have around us has been produced because somebody was committed. The
Mm.
microphone that you're using, it was a
Right.
vision inside somebody's head, and they committed to producing that microphone, and that's how you got the clarity that you're using now. The camera that you're using, somebody committed to making that camera. And so if folks don't commit, we don't have products, we don't
Wow.
have services, and our lives don't improve.
Oh, I can go a million different ways, but I want to ask you this one from what you just said with the commitment. Is it a time frame on commitment? I don't think
I,
so, but I'm
well,
asking.
well, um, I choose not to look at the time frame. I
Mm-hmm.
choose to look at the process.
The process. Okay.
Because when we deal in processes, they have a time frame, but it's not necessarily the time that happens that we're concerned about. We're
Mm-hmm.
concerned about the actions that's inside of that. And
The
so,
progression.
say again,
The progression.
the progression and the process.
Mm-hmm.
And so, progression and process always happens in some form of time, because
Right.
time is something that we can't escape from. But as long as we're doing the work and making the changes and making those steps, that's where we're going. So tell me what you think about process. I mean about time.
I so reason why I ask when it comes to uh the time of being committed, I think time matters, but I think a lot of us focus on time because the commitment part requires all of us. And somewhere along the line, culture has taught us, oh, you can give a little bit over here, a little bit over there, a little bit over here. And it's got us so separated that whatever we call ourselves committed to is only getting 5-10% of us. It's not enough. So when you say committed, it needs all of us. And that's why I said time, because when we do give all of us, all of ourselves to something, if it don't happen in 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, all of a sudden we want to go back to that scattered part of us and not staying committed. I would just say, like, even with you writing this book, I know for a fact it didn't happen overnight. But us that's about to read it, we thinking this just happened overnight. No, 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 no. Coach Cannon put some time and sweat and tears into this book. You know what I mean? So that's staying committed. So I say that to say committed isn't just a title for sure. It's a declaration. When in your life did you commit? Did your commitment evolve from a concept into a way of being?
That is a solid question, Coach. And for me, it happened, and this is some of the things that I discussed in the book as well, and especially during the opening portion of it. That's the framework. That's when it went from a concept to a way of being. Because I'm trying to think how to phrase this the best way.
It's the raw
For
report,
me,
bro. Give
right,
it to me
well,
raw.
well, we just gonna keep it raw there.
Yes,
Well, for
sir.
me, it happened to me because I came upon a situation in my life that I had to make a decision and I had to change. And it
Mm-hmm.
was regards with my mental health. It was in regards to my military, and it was regards to some things that I had been stuffing in my duffel bag for years. And so long story short, I ended up getting into a road rage incident, and I don't have a pinky knuckle anymore because I had a severe boxer's fracture.
Wow.
And so in the military, a captain asked me what happened, and I told him that it was life. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, if that's the way you're living life, you've got to make some changes. And
Wow.
so that's when I got introduced to therapy, and that's the thing that really sparked the mindset for me, because committed to progressing forward, it was a maxim for me. It was something that I would say has got me through a whole bunch of dark times in my life that some things were going on, some suicidal ideation, some suicide attempts and stuff like that that happened back then. And so it was something that really helped me move out of. It went from a maxim to a mindset because it was
Hmm.
something that I was verbalizing, but it hadn't clicked up here. And so
Right.
that's what the whole thing is for me. What my thing about committed is, it had to be something for me that connected internally that would help me pull myself out of that dark pit. And that was the connection that I made through therapy, and therapy is what really, really changed my life, bro.
So basically, I want to tap onto it because you said the mental health side of it has helped you, um, basically helped you get back committed from the stuff you went through that made it happen.
Hmm.
But what was the mindset that you had to let go before you could tap into your real progression?
Oh, that's man. It was a lot. One of the
Okay.
things, of course, the stigma of even opening up about what was going on in my head. Of course, some of the stigma of black men, black folks. We don't do shrinks. We don't do therapy. We keep everything internalized. We don't discuss what's happening. We are we feel like we got to work, we got to drive, we don't have time for emotions. Just a lot of the stigma and a lot of the conversations that I heard growing up, and from men that I admired, and also those of us who may have a church background. You're gonna try to pray everything away.
Right.
And for me, I couldn't pray away what was going on. And so I felt like something was flawed. I thought that I was going to be this way the rest of my life. And then what she introduced me to was neuroplasticity. And what that
Hmm.
means is our brain's ability to change, our brain's ability to grow, and our brain's ability to adapt. And so that was the mindset that I had to let go of. The things I had to unlearn what I previously learned in order for me to learn better and for me to do better.
Wow, that's good. You had to unlearn so you can learn something new, because if you tried to learn something on top of what you already knew, it wasn't no room for you to grow that way. Is that, am I being okay? All right, I just
Facts.
want to make sure. Okay, I get it. You had to unlearn, and that's deep right there. If I'm the more I'm thinking about it, because if you don't, you trying to put some new knowledge on top of what you've already learned, it don't. It's like oil and water. It don't mix. So you got to unlearn that so you can take the new stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Man, when you said that, I was thinking about something, and I
Okay.
apologize for cutting you off
No,
and
no,
not
no,
be
bro.
quiet.
This your show. This your show. I'm just the interview. I'm asking questions. Let's talk. Let's go. Yeah, give me stuff. Tell me what you was thinking about.
When you said that, I thought about, are you familiar with Bruce Lee?
What? Come on, man. Saturday
Okay, and
morning.
so
I don't want to date myself, but Saturday mornings, quit playing.
I used to read some of his books back in the day, and so one of the things he said was when people would come to him and they would want him to train him, he would fill up a glass of Coke and he would fill up a glass of water.
Hmm.
And what he would tell them is the Coke is the things that you've learned,
Mm.
but what I know is the glass of water. So in order for you to get right here to this clear, we've got to get rid of everything that you've learned. All of the coke, all of the sweetness, all of life, all of the pollutants, all of the stuff like that that you've learned, because if not, it's going to keep you from being pure and getting to this pure knowledge. And so for me, that's the metaphor that I see in my head when you was discussing that, because everything that we've learned got us this far. But in order for us to get to the next level, we have to be clear, we have to be open, and we have to be willing to take something that's refreshing and
Wow.
doesn't tickle our palate.
I hope that. Well, I hope y'all hearing what he's saying, because I'm hearing it. Because it's almost like the math scale. You know, you got the positive side, the negative side. You done went so far to the negative side that you basically can't put nothing else on top of that. So you got to come back to that zero before you can go the way you need to go. That's good. How did writing this book stretch your own definition of discipline or growth?
Bro, this is one of the hardest things I've ever done. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because it really took discipline, and it was days that I didn't want to do it. It was days that I was like, man, this is gonna flop. All of that mental chatter that you get inside of your head, is this gonna be impactful? Is what you're saying real relevant? and different things of that nature like that. So it took me, because I've been wanting to write a book for at least 10 years. And
Wow.
so just having that thought that I knew it was in me, and I had some ideas to start off with, and that may come out another book or whatever like that, but
Okay.
I didn't have the discipline to sit down. And so for me, it helped me to put together ideas that had been, what's the word, sporadic. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to start gaining the discipline of putting pen to paper. When things would come to me, I would try to keep everything in my head. And so I realized that our brain is for creating ideas. Our hands is for inputting those ideas. And so when I would have it, I just start writing. My wife, my folks would tell you, I kept a notebook with me. I just start jotting down. I had the app on my phone. I'd be putting stuff in there like that. And so I had to start having that discipline to capture the downloads. Because if you don't have the discipline to capture the downloads will disappear.
Oh,
The
that's a bar right
downloads, they'll degrade. The downloads, they'll break down. And so if you don't capture them, that was the discipline for me, learning, because my mind would keep running. So I had to sit down and get these thoughts down and just start compiling them, and combining them to something that was presentable and something that I was satisfied with.
Well, I'll be. I know a lot of people have told you, but I'll tell you, congratulations. You are now an author. You're a best-selling author. It's coming. We're gonna speak that thing into existence, and you don't have to worry about that struggle no more because the obstacle is the way. You went through the obstacle, so now
Mm,
every book you write from now on, you know what it takes.
yeah,
You
yes,
know what it takes. So that's fire, bro. Like I said, you encouraged me to finich my book,
yeah. I
and
can't wait to get it. Let me know when it come out.
bro, out man, that's go. Hey, look. I said you encouraged me. I ain't. I got a lot of other stuff going, but I'm gonna get there. I'm just saying, but it's a step at a time. But to me, it's encouraging because I seen you when you was putting in the drafts and the redrafts and the doing your thing. I know that takes commitment, and a lot of people, like I said, we only talking about commitment. A lot of people don't understand that it's not always pretty. It's not always pretty. I know for a fact it ain't. And like you said, some days you wake up, it's just like, bruh, this ain't it. Was there a personal failure or moment of doubt that directly shaped this book's message? Something that made you land on commitment and the mindset to fuel the progression.
Hmm. I think my whole life, bro.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think my whole life, and I think that I wrote my book from the point of view of me writing to the young man that needed to hear these words,
Ooh.
the young man that needed to know these principles that I discuss in here about awareness, resilience, optimism,
Mm-hmm.
gratitude, kaizen. These things that I needed to know, that I feel like if I, because like we know as men and just different people, I hear the conversation all the time. Like if I would have known then what I know now, things would be completely different. And so what
Right.
I did was I took the things that I felt like if I would have known then, I put them in here,
Mm-hmm.
and I break things down in a way that it would help an individual to be able to develop a mindset that'll help them fuel themselves to be able to start moving forward. And a lot of times, I would look back on my life, man, that was so stupid. Man, I wasted 15 years of my life doing this. Man, if I would have known this, or if I would have locked in sooner. And so I feel like wherever you are in life, this right here is going to help you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the next steps. I don't have everything mapped out. I don't have everything planned out. But this right here, my brother, like, like I
Right.
said, this right here, this right here will help you take that next step. That helps
Mm-hmm.
someone develop that mindset to take the next step. And after that, it's just all about moving forward, man.
I love
And
that. No, go for it.
yeah, and then again, like we say before, it's not instant, it's incremental. And
Mm-hmm.
understanding that it's not going to be a quick thing, but it's going to be some small steps that lead up to the progress that we're desiring.
That's good because I'm just thinking about myself from what you just said, being a young man. We all can talk to the young man who we used to be, but it's not many people who's giving out blueprints to that young man. Cause wasn't no blueprints when we was coming up. We needed some answers, and could nobody give us none. So appreciate you for doing that, cause I guarantee I'm gonna be recommending it to all my folks. So don't even worry about that. Um, if someone picks up Committed today, what's the first myth or mental block you're dismantling for them in the book?
Hmm. The first thing I think would be anyone can change.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that a lot of times we as men, leaders, veterans, whatever position or title that we may hold, we feel like we're too far gone to change. And that's what the opening line of the book is: the enemy was the enemy.
Mm.
And so just understanding where the enemy is, a lot of times we feel like the enemy is the man. People say a lot of things, though, this is the problem, this is the problem. But for me, my opening line of the book, I'm about to read it directly because I don't want to quote it
Please.
wrong.
Okay.
The enemy was the enemy. And so when we think about that, and for me, that's what really hit home because it's in here for me. The
Right.
conversations that I have in here, because I feel like we can be a coach or we can be a critic to ourselves. And for me, I find myself being the critical critic to myself. And so that's the whole thing of having that understanding like the issue is us, not with the world, not pointing the finger at nobody else. I point the finger at myself when I first started out.
That's so good because a lot of us have same thing. I had to do that too because we want to blame everybody else. Ain't none of it our fault. Ain't none of it us? Wow, that's crazy. And that's deep, bro. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's deep because a lot of us people we do not like to point the finger at ourselves. We don't, Michael Jackson said we don't want to look at the man in the mirror.
Hmm.
He, can you take us inside of one chapter that you think will be most surprising or it will challenge the readers and why?
Okay. And I think that all of the chapters is going to be a challenge to the readers to it's kind of for me, I think the book is a mirror, it's a manual, and it's a
Oh,
mindset shift. And so I think that each one of them, each one of the chapters really challenge the reader. But one of them that I would like to speak to, and you already alluded to it in our previous conversation, is the chapter about decommitting.
mm-hmm.
And so, what decommitting is, a lot of times we fall in something that is called commitment bias. And what commitment bias is the tendency for us to continue doing something because either it worked for us in a previous season. But a lot of times, the things that work in previous seasons, they may have been productive then, but when we get in a new season, they're prisons. And
Wow.
so what the decommitting is me separating myself from the old things, from the things that I've learned, from the things that I've developed that are not serving me into my next season. Now, so I think that that decommitting piece is something that we all have to really consider because if we don't decommit, we'll be taking the same thing that we had before into a new season. And a great example of that would be the children of Israel. They came out of Egypt, but Egypt was still showing up in each and every one of their daily lives. And they missed the promised land because they couldn't get that Egyptian thinking
Right.
out of their life and out of their minds. And so we have to have a different mindset. And so that generation that had that mindset, all of them died except for Caleb and Joshua.
Mm.
And so if we want to get to the next levels of our life, there's some things that we got to decommit to. And when everybody else have their own mindset, the rest of the spies were saying like, listen, there's giants and all of that right there. It was only two with a different mindset. And those two with that mindset, those were the one that got to the promised land. And
Wow.
so that decommitting is a strong thing because a lot of times we don't want to separate ourselves from things that once worked. And I think you said it before, we want to blame everybody else. And to me, blame is an acronym. And the
Mm.
acronym for blame is because looking at me's excruciating. Because looking at me's excruciating. And so it's a whole lot easier for me to blame everyone else instead of looking at me, because a lot of times when I look at me, that's painful. That's
Mm.
excruciating. I don't
Right.
want to face that. So it's better for me to have everybody else as the problem versus saying, hey, the mirror, the man in the mirror, like you said, Michael Jackson, what we gonna do with that?
Bro, you said something in that, like all of you said something powerful, but you said it in a way most people won't say it. It's a prison.
Hmm.
A prison. Like that right there. People think prison is only going to jail. No, you can be in prison in your mind because you thinking, like you said, it worked last season, but it ain't working for you no more. You got to be willing to let that thing go because you're in a prison. I think, and it's just, I haven't even read the book yet. I can't wait to read it. But I think you need to touch on that more. Start letting people know they're in a prison in their mind because when you said it, it snapped like, never thought of it that way. You understand what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Because it's like, you thinking of it like, yeah, mental mindset, this, and that. But when think about it, most people walking around in this world right now are in mental prisons that they put themselves in. Wow, that's that's a lot, bro. Many books talk about goals.
Hmm.
You focus on mindset.
Hmm.
What's the critical shift readers must take to move from performance to transformation?
That's bro, you coming up with some zingers.
Bro, I got the man, the myth, the legend on here, so I got to get that juice. I got to get you, and
Uh,
I got you. I know you stay busy.
I think that well I think that before we can even get to the goal, before we even get to goal setting, we got to have that right mindset. Because if you can set all the goals you want to,
Hmm.
but if you don't have the mindset to take the action, they'll never get done.
Hmm.
And the question that I have to that is, how many goals, how many things that you said that you wanted to do that you haven't done? How many things have you told yourself, I got to do better in this area of your life? You started, but you didn't finish it. How many unfinished projects have we started that we haven't put that final nail in?
Right.
And so I feel like instead of just starting things, it's easy to start, but
Hmm.
it takes a different mindset to be able to finish. And when we start looking at mindset, this is where we are being deliberate. This is where we're being aware, and we're doing the things that is necessary, and we're doing the inputs to get the outputs that we need to get. And so that's why goals is great, but you got to have that mental wiring in order to complete the goal. And so it's not just about mindset. You got to have a mission, and you got to start creating that momentum.
Bro, you said so many different things in there, but the part that I want to touch on is when you said the mindset. And all I kept going back to, I heard all of it, but all I heard was when you said goals is good, but mindset, you got to first have the mindset to stay committed before you can even do a goal. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
wow, he titled this book spot on because if you can't fix your mind to be committed, because most of us have fractured focus, if you can't stay committed, your goals, you just talking at that point.
You're
Mm,
never going to get it.
mm, mm, mm. Did you? This is just random. Did you include any daily practices or something in the book to help reinforce people's mindset shift? You did. I'm sure you did.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Hey, look. What's one system or framework from
Mm.
committed that even someone feeling stuck today could apply?
Hmm. Mm. Well, I'm not even going to give you a framework. I'm going to give you an exercise,
Ooh.
because sometimes we can get lost in frameworks, but it's something practice is what we're talking about. I don't know if you've seen that AI thing. back in the day, the interview, are we talking about practice? Yeah, we talking
Right.
about
Yeah, we
practice.
talking about practice. Yeah, for sure.
And so the practice for me, one of the things that really helped me solidify, helped me daily, and this is a daily thing that I do, is breathing. I think
Okay.
that we as individuals, breathing is something that we typically overlook. And breathing for me, it helps me to get focused and it helps me to get centered. And so what I discussed in there, what my therapist showed me is this box breathing method. So it's the 4 in, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4, and that creates a box. And so that helps us to slow down because it gives us the time frame. Not only does it reset our mind, not only does it gives us the focus in the moment, but it also gives us that space between stimulus and response. And so a lot of times we don't have space because, stimulus and reaction, because a lot of times we're just living life reacting to everything that happens around us. But when we take those moments to breathe and to slow down and to get centered, then we have the time to formulate a response. And when we're responding instead of reacting, reactions are knee jerk. We don't think, they're instantaneous. It's just like when you was a kid, when you went to the doctor, he sat you on the table and he hit your knee and your leg would jerk out automatically. That's what reactions are.
Right.
But when we choose to respond, we have an opportunity to think. We giving our brains the chance to formulate, and we coming up with different areas and things that we can approach things. And so for me, that's the simple act of taking time to breathe before I say something. That simple act of allowing that oxygen, because oxygen is what fuels our body, it's what fuels our brain. And a lot of times we're out of balance because we're not breathing correctly.
So with that exercise of breathing, are you thinking about
Mhm.
anything while you're doing the breathing? Is anything on your mind or just clearing your mind?
Sometimes it's just for me, I can't speak for anyone else because everything is our own preference and it's
Okay.
our what works for you. So I
Hmm.
can't tell you what's going to work for you, but for me, it's just me focusing on that inhale, feeling that coolness coming into my
Oh,
nostrils, or
okay.
feeling all of that and just being present. Because if I
Right.
can get present, I can figure everything else out. Because a lot of times I'd be lost in my head. And
Wow.
so for me,
Okay.
feeling the sensations of being able to be in the moment and not up here, that's when I can start formulating things better.
No, no, no. That's good. I was just trying to. I was thinking about, with people when they hear it. When they hear it, they want to. Should they be thinking about something or not? But that was good right there. I'm glad you said that.
Hmm.
But I want to say this from what you said was when you said you give me an exercise instead of a framework. I'm so glad you did that. You know what? Because what I feel like a lot of us that's already on the journey of lifelong learning, we
Mm.
accept frameworks. We looking for framework. But the people that's not has not started a journey, they don't know nothing about no framework. We talking right over their head. Framework. They just need some basic stuff. So I'm glad you did that. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's different levels of breathing, bro. And this is one thing that I'm learning
Mhm.
is that with breathing, it's not just one technique. There are multiple techniques. Like and you can Google these, YouTube them, but you got breathing that energizes you. One of those is the Wim Hof method of breathing. That's when
Mm.
you take 30 deep breaths consecutively. That's all you're doing, and it energizes, and you hold on the 31st one. And then that's a way to energize you to get your brain ready and to go. Then you have the calming breathing. Those are the deep breathings, or the 4 for 4, or the breathe in and hold in. So there's multiple breathing techniques for whatever things that you're doing in life.
Wow.
So and that's the exercise. And a lot of times we do it unconsciously, but we fail to realize the power that it has in our life, because elite athletes, people all throughout the centuries, have tapped into the power of breathing, bro. And it's just something that we do naturally that we overlook. And it's a gold mine and it's a jewel. And it preps us to do whatever we need to do in life.
That's good right there. Oh, that's
And
so
don't
good.
even get me, don't even get me on the breath of life and what God breathed into us. That's a
Hey,
whole
share it.
different
Look,
thing.
bro. Look, I'm not. Look, like I said, I know for a fact that people got so much to learn from you. Because, like I said, you be dropping some jewels, and then and I appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing your testimony and the stuff you've been through. Because I know for a fact, even when I'm listening to you, I know this is going to help some people because you're willing to share the unspoken truths. A lot of people, we suffer in silence. We have to get away from that because we need some help. We need each other. We was not meant to do this alone. Culture taught us, get it out the mud, do it by yourself. And that's how we get all that stuff wrapped up in our head. But the second when you can say, I need some help. But also, you got to be willing to accept the help. You know, understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we say we want help, but then we want to guide the person how to help them. You can't tell me how to help you. You ask for help, let me help you. I'm just saying, that's a whole nother something else. Let me ask you this. How do you stay committed when progress feels invisible? When the wins aren't coming fast enough? How do you stay committed during those times?
Great question. And that is something that I had a conversation with a gentleman with the other day. And give you some context of where I'm about to go.
Okay.
I took a wrong turn and I ended up at a local community college. I seen a guy standing out there, people were getting off the sidewalk, avoiding this guy. And so inside of me, something said, he has a need. Bro, I got out my truck. I didn't take 5 steps. And before I could take that 5th step, he said, hey, do you have $1.50 that I can get? I walk up to the guy, go into my wallet. I didn't have the $1.50, but I had cash. So I gave him the money. And as I was handing him the money, I asked him, what's going on? The guy, and when I looked at him, when our eyes met, I saw the imago Dei in him, the image of God. Mm-hmm. And when I seen that look in his eyes, bro, he broke down crying. He told me that he had been released from prison for 4 years. He had been released from prison for 4 months. Mm-hmm. He had been in 5 maximum security prisons, and he had been down for 13 years, and he had just got released, and he was having a hard time in life. And so we just talked and different things of that nature like that. I gave him a copy of my book, and I told you we was at the community college. And I said, bro, there's got to be resources here. We go inside there, got the young man signed up for the GED program, got him signed up, and his whole life, you should have seen the excitement that came upon his face. So at the end, when we started separating ways, he was like, man, I feel like I want to grow, but I feel like I'm stuck. I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at the environment that's around us right now. Look at the grass, look at the flowers, look at the bushes, and look at the trees. What we're seeing now on the outside was growing. We see that, but we fail to realize that the roots are what's sustaining all of these things. And so a lot of times in life, we're looking for the growth up. But the fact of the matter is we're growing down. That's the roots. These are the unseen things that are grabbing the nuances. These are the unseen things that are building our strength. These are the unseen things that are increasing our capacity. That's what the root system is. It may not seem like you're growing, but you're growing down, because if you don't grow down, when you start growing up, you're going to topple over when the weight of life hits you, when the winds of life hit you. And when you're wondering when, you're already winning because you're growing underneath the surface.
Wow.
And so sometimes it's not about what's seen. It's the things that are going on beneath the scenes that prepares us to be seen when we're seen on the scene. And so sometimes it's not necessarily about the growth that we want. It's the learning and the capacity building so that when we do get the growth that we desire, we'll be able to sustain it.
Wow. That's so good, because I agree with you 100%. Like you said, when you grow down, and I'm just what I really thought about when you said that was, because you explained it, but you went off, you made it even bigger in my mind, the way my mind went. Some of us might have to grow down, when you say the flower, the trees, this and that, depending on the person. Your roots might be way bigger than everybody else's. So you might got to stay under that dirt a lot longer. You said it, bro. It just made me think. I'm like, oh wow, this is different, because a flower roots ain't the same as a tree roots.
God, that's good. Have you heard the story about the Japanese bamboo tree?
No, sir.
Man, it's this dude. He had this farmer, and he planted these crops. He had different crops, and he was in the village of farmers, and he planted all the rows. And this one set of rows, that he was watering. All the other crops were growing up, all the other farmers that was getting their yields and stuff like that. But it was this one set of area that he had to water every single day. He was watering it for the first week, nothing grew. He watered it for a month, nothing grew. He watered it for a year, nothing grew. Everybody was trying to figure out what's going on. Year one, he still kept watering it. Year two, he still kept watering it. Year three, he still kept watering it. Year four, he still kept watering it. 5 years into watering that plant every single day. That fifth year, when he went to water it, he started seeing shoots coming out the ground. And the Japanese bamboo tree, it takes 5 years for the roots to grow underground. And then in the time frame of 9 weeks, it grows up to 60 feet straight up in the air. And so when you said that, that's what popped in my mind. A lot of times the 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 time takes longer because the growth is so much bigger. And a lot of times we want to grow when everybody else is growing. But we got to understand that we are developing underground, because when we get to shooting up, bro, we're going to
Ain't
go
no
up
stopping us.
faster,
Ain't
and
no
we're going to
stopping
go
us.
keep going. And watch this. We're going to be shade for everything else that around us. And shade is good when you're under the right tree.
Bro, that's so. I got the chills when you said that, because when you first said it, I'm just thinking, roots is deeper than grass, flower group is deeper than grass, a tree is deeper than the flower. I saw that picture and I was like, okay. Then when you just gave me that one with the bamboo tree, some of us are just built different, and we had to grow underneath first. And that just means, like you said, the bamboo tree. I had never heard that. But 5 years, and then that mug shoot up in 9 weeks, 60 feet tall. Bro, that's a word. And I ain't even trying to make it about the Bible, but that's a word that a lot of us need to hear, because, and I'm just speaking to myself at this moment. I don't know if it's about trying to grow as fast as everybody else, but it's like I want to see something. Let me get a little. Can I get a little of that sun on me, man? I just want a little something. That's it. But when you said that, that's perspective. Just keep going in. I love that. Thank you. I needed that for myself.
No problem.
Do you?
I need it too.
Look, hey, I told you our conversations be fire. I already know how these go. Do you include any journaling or questions or inner prompts within the book for people to deepen their growth? Or is that the next step?
That's the next step. That's probably going to be in the workbook that I'm going to start working on, and everything else like that, as far as journaling and prompts. But it's an encouragement in there for me, to them, to start writing down those thoughts, to sit with those thoughts, because there's a chapter in there about contemplation. And so what it is kind of identified areas of my life that I needed to work on. And so for me, they're framed in the letter C. And so I need to work on my character. I need to work on my competence. I need to work on my confidence. I need to work on my courage. I need to work on just different letters that start with C that I write about in the book. And so each one of those is a chapter that I write to the reader in order to help them sharpen and in order to help them improve those areas of their life. And so each one of them is an opportunity for you to reflect in the mirror about how I can work on my mindset by using this manual.
That's good stuff. Is there a spiritual? I know it is, but I'll let you tell the audience. Is there a spiritual principle behind your approach to commitment? Something that grounds your work beyond mindset and motivation?
That's so good, bro. Bro, you hit me with some questions, and I love it. I love it. I love it.
Let's go.
Well, since you said it, if you look throughout the Bible, if you look in the Quran, if you look in whatever thing that you read, there's always instances of individuals in that of being committed. Committed isn't just a current term. Committed is a framework that every single individual, when you look through in the Word, they displayed some sort of form of commitment. If you look at Moses, throughout his life, he displayed commitment. If we look at Joseph, he displayed commitment. And so it's a principle that we see all throughout the scripture that's woven in order for you to get from the pain to the promise. The bridge is committed. Because
Oh,
a lot of times there's going to be some things that we have in our life that's going to happen, that's going to occur, and we want things to be easy. But life ain't going to be easy. In order for you to get to the promised land, there's some giants you got to defeat. There's some obstacles that you got to overcome. And so when we look at obstacles as opportunities, in order for me to demonstrate my level of committed, bro, it's all through the scripture. And even with Jesus, he didn't even want to be committed. He was like, yo, if this is your will, let this cup pass away from me. But at the end of it, he said, not my will, but thy will. And he made the ultimate commitment, bro. And so
mhm.
when we just look through scriptures, if we look through any type of ancient literature, and even if we look in our life, we're always going to see this principle of being committed. And so when we activate it, it helps us to see that if it's something that I need to achieve, if it's something that I need to grow, it's going to take that one word, being committed, because nothing gets accomplished without being committed.
Mm, 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 mm. Bro, I think you done tapped on to something for real with the, because even when you say that, think about commitment, committed, it's a word that we just breeze over. We don't realize that that's the glue to everything. That's the glue.
Ooh.
That's the glue that holds your foundation together. I just thought about that when you said that, and I got some. I mean, how do you personally reconnect with your why when the momentum starts to fade?
That's great. Because since you said that, bro, I'm gonna just go and give you the framework. So, and with that is every commitment. Well, I ain't gonna give you the framework. You got to get the book, and
Yeah,
you're gonna
right.
see the framework when you get the book.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna give you the base of the framework.
Okay.
Every commitment starts with one thing, and
Faith,
that one thing is called a cause.
purpose.
It's called a cause. Cause, a cause.
Okay.
And what the cause is your why. The
Hmm.
cause is the thing that either frustrates you, it infuriates you, or it pumps you up and it causes you to take action.
Okay.
Because, okay, so let's look at it in the context of our people. When we
Hmm.
look at our people, when we came over here, our cause for us to fight for what it is that we desire, it was for civil rights.
Right.
And so that's what sparked us to take care of the movement, to begin the movement of our journey. And
Right.
so whatever we want to do, it's got to be a cause, and the cause is the why. It's the issue that forces us to take action. And so whenever we're in these situations for our commitment, we always look back to the reason why I started this. For
Mm.
example, what's the reason why you started your podcast? The reason why we're here right there. That cause right there,
Right.
that's what refuels us. This is the thing that gets us back centered. And because if we got a captivating cause, we'll be willing to withstand any challenge that comes up before us.
Well, that's spot on too. You is not lying
And
because when
and,
you
and go ahead.
no no no, I'm just you. Let's go.
And just like for each of us, each one of us have our own causes, bro. And so
Hmm.
when we tap into our own cause, that's what makes us the move. And so when I was thinking about it, it's a cause and an effect.
Hmm.
And all of us are a cause by ourselves. And each one of us, when we tap into our cause, we're always going to produce an effect.
Oh, okay. I like that because which goes back to the committed part because the cause makes an effect, but you got to have the cause first to create the effect that you want to affect. That's good. That's deep. So I already, like I said, I know some of these answers, but I'm asking them anyway. What role does faith, intuition, and soulfulness play in sustained progression?
Mm. Bro, I think I posted this the other day that faith doesn't make life easier. Faith helps us sustain in life. And so when we
Mm.
have faith, faith is the key. I feel that faith is an essential ingredient in the gumbo of progression.
Right.
Because when we have faith, that is the things that sustain us. And if you even go to the word, faith, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So faith is the things that we stand on in that understanding that something may not be seen, but I still believe it's there.
Right. 100%. That's it. That's it all day. And even to that point, we have faith in stuff that we have faith that when you go to the gas station and pay for gas, it's gonna fill up your tank. You don't even realize that that's faith, but you feel like that you paid them, they go fill up your tank. So why don't you believe in the stuff that's truly inside of you that God is giving you to build and do for yourself? But that's another story for another day. Is there a quiet moment or spiritual lesson that made it into the book, maybe accidentally, or it turned out to be essential, something that you didn't think was gonna make it, but it ended up making it in the book anyway? Or you put it all in there and you ain't leave nothing back?
I didn't put it all in there, bro. It's a lot of stuff that I kind of trimmed up. Man, I got three versions of that book.
That's good. Okay, so that's part one. They go keep coming. You gotta let them flow. 'Cause that you hit on. I hear nobody else talking about commitment, bro. Nobody. Nobody. Think about it. Go, when you done with this, Google it. I ain't heard commitment from everybody talking about money and prospering and do it. Ain't nobody worried about the foundation work.
And I think that that's what I'm called to do. And I think that whatever anybody else is talking about, and that's what I love about the mindset, because the committed mindset, because of its versatility, its adaptability. Because when you apply the committed mindset to whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to accentuate, it's going to elevate, and it's going to advance you a whole lot further. Because, like you said, right, it's the foundation. And a lot of people, especially you as a coach, you understand that if you don't have the fundamentals, the rest of the game is going to be jacked up.
No matter what. Right.
And so committed is the fundamentals. Committed is you learning how to dribble the ball in basketball. It's you learning your form. Committed is the quarterback learning that 3-step drop and learning how to turn those hips when he's rocking in that ball. Committed is that wide receiver learning those routes and learning those fades and learning those curves. Committed is the stance of the boxer. Committed is the skills that race car drivers have to learn, those quick reflexes and all of that right there. Committed is what the soldier has to learn in order for him to execute his mission. Committed is the foundation, bro. And if we can get the foundation right, everything else is just going to enhance. And a lot of people, they're struggling because they don't have the foundation.
And I agree with you 100%, because if you got the foundation, you can tear all that down and rebuild it every single time, and you won't even be hurting at all, because it's just adding a room, taking away a room, paint this color, change that color. Oh, we want to go up. Oh, we want to go out. It doesn't matter. The foundation is strong.
Yeah.
I love it. So I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you good with that?
Bro, listen, we can fire them away.
Okay, let's go. A mindset quote you live by.
Well, it's two of them. One of them is what I learned in therapy. I have to be where my feet are, and don't let the moment mess up the momentum.
Don't let the moment mess up the momentum. I love that. That's good, because you might have a bad moment, but that don't have nothing to do with the momentum. That's just one day, 1 second of the day. That's good stuff. First thing you do after waking up.
I say thank you. Because I get to open up 3 gifts every day. I get to open up both my eyes and I open up my mouth to say thank you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. A book that changed your perspective besides your own.
Wow. There's so many, because as you see, I'm a reader.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, man. God, bro, listen. Woo. Of course, the ultimate would be the Bible. And
That's too easy. I can't let you off with that one. Yeah.
I'm going to give you one more.
Okay.
Understanding Your Potential by Dr. Miles Monroe.
Oh, yes. 100%. Yes. And he go in on that book.
Yeah.
What does commitment feel like to you?
Hmm. It feels essential.
It is essential. I will say that. It ain't feel like it is essential. So that's spot on. All right, I got a couple more questions, and then I'll get you out of here. For anyone who's listening who feels almost committed, who might not even know what committed mean, and they just not quite there, what's one way that they can, what's one thing they can do that they can start to explore what being committed even feel like this week to start moving forward for themselves? What can they start to do?
Outstanding. First, well, I think that number one is going to start with being aware of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the framework of commitment and being committed, I think that we live our lives in one of four ways, and we vacillate or we move in between these stages. And so, I feel like we can live our life caged. And
Mm-hmm.
what caged is, that means our movements is limited. The next one, we can live our life in cycles. We're moving, but we're repeating the exact same things. We can live our life casually, which is we're kind of laissez-faire, go with the flow and everything else like that. But we can live our life committed, and that is to something that we're dedicating ourselves to a cause. And so you got to identify which one of those states that we're in currently. And then once we start seeing where we are currently, then we can start making a decision and deciding to make a plan. What are my next steps and what are my direction that I'm going to be going? It starts with that awareness first, bro.
Awareness. Okay, I love it. If this book could whisper one truth into every reader's heart, what would it be?
Wow, that's a great question. Let me hear it one more time.
If this book could whisper one truth into every reader's heart, what would it be?
Hmm. It's going to take commitment for you to get to where you would desire to be at.
No matter what
It's
it
going
is,
to
you
take,
need commitment.
no matter what it is, wherever you're at, it's going to boil down to that irreducible essence. It's going to take commitment. Got to be committed.
Wow, that's good. Man, it's been another good show. All right, Coach Cannon, tell us where we can find you at. Tell them where they can find you.
Yo, you can find me on Facebook under Tahron Cannon, TahronCannon. You can follow my business on Facebook, my business page, which is Committed to Progressing Forward LLC. And you can find me on all other platforms under CTPF Cannon. That is Charlie, Tango, Papa, Foxtrot, Cannon. And also, if you look on those platforms, you can find the link to the book, and you can purchase it from me personally, and I will autograph the copy and I'll send it to you. Or it can be purchased on Amazon. Just type it in, Committed, tap into the mindset that fuels progression. Is there on ebook. You're going to get a paperback. And at 12 o'clock today, 1 o'clock today, I'm going to the studio and start working on the audiobook.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, so look, y'all already know what I like to say. And I just want to thank you once again, Coach Cannon, for coming on. Y'all know this is the man where I got this saying on the bottom that scrolls across the screen. Only hunt the good stuff. I needed to hear that. Hopefully y'all hear that. The man knows what he's talking about. So y'all know what I like to say. Stay real, stay raw, stay grounded in your faith, and walk boldly in your purpose. Till the next time, y'all, I'm out.